It happened at a place in Wanky National Park called Sharpie Pan, which is right in the middle of the park. And we had a culling team based there, and they built their own Colan dogger huts, the thatch roofs and everything, and they lived in this accommodation. And it was a culling camp. That's why they directed there. The man in charge of the culling team was a man called Glenn Harvey. And Glenn had given most of the staff off to go and have a holiday because it had poured with rain. And you couldn't get anywhere by vehicle. They had to stop the culling program. The culling program required that they shoot so many elephants a day. They then go out with big lorries. You load all the meat up. You measure the elephants, skin them, cut the meat, gut the carcasses, do the autopsies and everything there, and then take the meat and process it, so it would dry it out and sell it for human consumption. And then Harvey was, at that point in time, just about to get married. He was 57 years old. Wow. And he was getting married for the first time. His wife was called Ruth, I forget what his surname was, or her married name. But he gave everybody in the camp, in the cutting camp, gave everybody extra time off to go and have a holidays, because they couldn't do anything in the rain. The lorries were getting bogged down, the Land Rover was getting bogged down. The carcasses were getting spoiled with the rain and the mud and everything. So he went off and he got himself married while he was away on leave. And Willem de Beer, who was a very good friend of mine, he was my 2IC when I worked in Salisbury in the lorry. He was in charge of the camp. And we had the African staff had Poland dogger huts with thatched roofs, and the lions were coming at night to try and get into them as well. We were putting the roofs off, the thatch off, the roofs and things. It was really getting quite serious. And anyway, they had this lion coming around. When they had skinned the carcasses and done all the biological work on them and taken the meat off and everything, they took all the bones away and they stored the bones at an ossuary, a place where you store bones, because they were putting it there, and when the sun came out, it would dry the bones out, and then they could grind them up for bone meal on them. So they were dumping all the bones in the ossuary, which was just a place in the bush, which was convenient to be able to take the bones away from where everybody was living and just leave it out there. Now, this lioness had taken to go into the ossuary and chewing on the bones and eating the meat on the side of the body. And it wasn't killing anything, it was living off the bones. So, Willem de Beer was put in charge of the camp while Len was away. And he had a couple of young rangers who wanted to go off and do things as well. And everybody was just kicking their ears, weren't doing anything. So he said, all right, you push off, you come to contact me, and make sure you're here by such and such a time, because you've got work to do as well. So a lot of these young game rangers went off on leave, but it was raining. It was really raining very hard. And the lioness went every night to the ossuary, chewing on the bones, chewing on the sinews and the skins and things like that. And that's how it lived. So Len was due to come back on, let's say, on the Friday, with his new watch. And Willem was looking after him. And the lioness had taken to chasing the chickens in the compound and killing them and eating them, where the black people who were black laborers were living. And it was getting put pretty tight. I mean, it was jumping on the doors and trying to push the doors down and putting a real shelf through it. And in the middle of the night. So they had a good look at this lioness, and Willem wanted to shoot it. Because he said, as he told Len Harvey, when Len Harvey got back from his honeymoon, he said, then we're going to have trouble with this lioness because it is getting very, very cheeky. It is actually chasing people in the village at night and pushing the doors down and all sorts of things. So my recommendations to the lion is let me go and shoot it. Let's get it out of the way, because someone's going to die. And Len said, no, man. He says, a long time ago I had another lion like this. And I did shoot it. They said it got onto my permanent record in the head office. And the head office staff, the director and co, didn't take kindly to our shooting lions in a national park, even although it was chasing people. To say it, Willem persevered. He tried to get him to shoot it, and he said, no, and just calm down, let's see, we'll sort it out. There was a pride of lions that used to wander around the area. It would come in at night and go to the pan, which was in front of where all the European staffs were. They also lived under thatch in Zonendaga, but it's only a little bit posher. And this lioness used to come in at night and drink water, fan. And Len said, is the other pride still here? There was a bigger pride of lions there. And he was coming in, the big male was coming in with his pride at night, also going to drink. And Len said to Willem, he said, listen, when that big lion finds the lioness on its own, its partner is in its territory, it will chase it away. So it's only a matter of time before that lioness will be chased away. And Willem wasn't too concerned about this. He was genuinely concerned about this one. So anyway, what happened with this afternoon, with this one afternoon on a Thursday, let's call it a Thursday, Willem and his wife Hayes, their son came up from South Africa. He just finished his degree in engineering, I think, in Pietermaritzburg University. So he was all glowing with the fact that he got a distinction for his degree. After that, he came out with another male friend and two girlfriends, four of us. And in the afternoon, Len had come back with his new wife, and he had his own house, which had doors, wooden doors, but it had just holes in the wall for windows. There was no it was glass. There was nothing stopping anything going in through the windows. And when you looked in the window, you looked straight down on the double bed, right underneath the hole in the wall. And what happened the first morning, they got up and Len went outside, and he'd heard the lion at night outside. So he went out and he looked around, and there he sees, just below the window, there was a place where the lion had scratched the ground and got a nice soft soil, and he could lay down there during the night. And he called his wife and he says, just come and have a look here. See the lion? It doesn't want us to do us any harm. It's been lying down here all night. He said, I've heard it all night, got lying down here and soaring, and they've got in the eye. And she put a bit up to 10 months. She was worried about it because she wasn't a bush bull. she had just been embittered to the bush community, or the men. Anyway, the lion had come and gone during the night, and she got a bit uptight about it, and Willem went up to Dr. Land and said, "Then don't take this lightly." He said, "This lion is bloody hungry. It's really hungry. It's eating bones and things in the ossuary. And all it has to do is jump in through the window, and you two guys are goners. And he said, "Please, let me shoot this lion and let's get it out the way." So he said, "No," he says, "long time ago when I shot a lion, this kind of lion, was a threat to the staff, I got butted in the neck, and my record is now put a rotch on it because I shot the lion. We said in national parks you don't shoot beat down, and you just accommodate yourself with it." So he left it at that. What happened then was, the next night, the lioness came back, and the lioness jumped up onto the window frame and went inside on top of the bed. Jumped on top of Bruce, both men's wife, and started to mourn her. And she was screaming her head off. And Len sat up in bed and grabbed this lioness and pulled it off his wife. And then it started to mourn him. So and it was a wooden bed with wooden legs, and all this thing going on the bed. The legs broke off and fell down on one side. And Ruth rolled off, ran out through the door, ran across the door to Willem's house, and she was shouting at the top of her voice, Willem, come, the lion's killing Ellen." That's what she said. He said he heard this noise, and he was already in bed with Etching. So he got up from the bed and went outside, and he saw this woman standing in the front of his house, stark naked. She had no clothes on, and she was in the rain. It was pouring with rain. So he went up and grabbed her and pulled her into the house, and then Heather, Willem's wife, got up to the other bedrooms and came in to see what the noise was all about. And she said, "The lion's on top of Len now. Please go, and it's killing Len. Please go and help my husband." So Willem got up, took the torch next to his bed, and took the keys for his office, which was hanging on the wall. And they said, "Come on, let's go." And then young Colin, Ruth's son, by the previous marriage, he came in and said, what's going on? He didn't look down, and there's Ruth lying there, cold, gripped to pieces, blood everywhere. So what happened then was that Willem said to him, "Colin, you come with me. I'm going to need some help out. The lioness is mourning Len in the other house, which was 50 yards away across the road. You need him." They ran outside into the rain, and they ran to the office where they opened up the gun safe and they took weapons out. The one weapon Willem gave to young Colin, and he took the weapon of his choice. I don't know what it was, of the thing that he wanted. Then they went back out again, and they ran to the place where they had a thermite engine that generated, and they switched the generator on. Then all the lights in the whole camp opened up. So where Lem had been sleeping, he and his wife had been reading books to the lights. When they switched the lights off, all the lights in the whole camp just went off. But now, to get them back on, they're so smart, they all came back on again. So they walked across the space between the engine, the generator, and Len's house. And Willem was a very experienced hunter. he had a round up the start and everything, and he said to Conan, put a round up the spun under the start on your weapon, you have to use this now. Conan says, how do I do that? I've really used a rifle in my life before. Venom loaded it for him and said, all you've got to do is to point it and pull the trigger. Just don't point it at range. A shot had, he said, it'll go bang. And then you pick this up and you put it back in another round and then you can fire it again. But you probably won't have to. I'm going in the front, you can come behind me. So then the rain had subsided to a light drizzle, and they went towards Ben's house, and the window where the lion had gone in was obviously a gap in though. The bottom man put his head, the thatch came down to below the window. He got his head under the thatch, and he went up to the window to look inside, see what was going on. And all he could see was the Canuck scream, and there was blood everywhere. And that's all he could see. He couldn't see the lion. Couldn't hear the lion at all. So anyway, he stood up under the thatch, and with the thatch coming like this behind his head, and he was trying to look into the room. When he went up like this, his head hit the top of the thatch, and the thatch pushed him forward and pushed his whole front torso through this hole in the wall. And when he looked down there was this lion just lying down there waiting for him. And it jumped up over the top of the bed, and it had been eating then. It had eaten all the top of his shoulder and his back and back of his head. But he was dead. And but now Willem being pushed half into the house because of this thatch. And the lion came out in one big wall, was through the window, there's on Strobosn. And it jumped on top of him and pushed him down under the thatch onto the ground. And then it started to moor inward. And Willem started fighting the lion, but it was far too big. I mean, you can't fight a lion. And he dropped his rifle when he came out. The lion got on top of him and started to board him. And if he had bit his face to pieces, especially it even serves here, but over the top of his head, full pressed to his head, down over the top of his head, down past his eyebrow, through his eyelashes, and down into the cheek here. The whole thing just opened up. And another one was right across the forehead here, like that. And Willem was lying down, and this lion, he was on his back pretending to be dead. And the lion flew over the top of her and started licking his face, licking the blood off his face. And he said to me, he was about 2 IC when I was in Salisbury. So his office and my office had a common wall. And we had long chats together. And he said, I thought to myself, he said, now this bloody lion is trying to befriend me. And I'm like licking you. It's we're going to be all right. Anyway, he lost his rifle. So he was lying there with his hand doing this all around him, looking for a rifle, and he felt a rifle. He didn't know what it was. He thought it was a pickaxe. And he pulled it onto himself, made sure there was a round up the spout, and then caught him. We were standing next to the two of them. The lion was right here, licking the girl's face. And Willem was standing right there, and the lion then suddenly saw him move, and it lashed out and it bit him through the knee, right through the knee, and really very miserable scene. And the lion then left Willem and went on top of Conan and started boarding him, and Conan was screaming. It was like a banshee. And Willem could hear this, but he said, I just lay there and pretended to be dead. And And then the lioness left Willem and got onto Colin and started mooring the hell out of him. So now, and he can hear the lion growling and chewing away at Colin. Colin put his hand in its mouth to stop it biting. That's the he got bitten all over his hands and up his arms. And Willem, anyway, then tried to aim it at the lion. So he sat up on the ground with his skin on his forehead was falling over his face like a stone yet. And he heard the lion from here to your camera away, or closer still, even from here to this corner there. He heard the lion and Colin screaming. So he pointed the rifle at the noise of the lion running, pulled the trigger, and he put a bullet through the back of the lion's shoulder, through its neck, through its head, came out the side and through his wrist. Yeah, like that's the bullet that through his wrist. And hunger is to those, and on through the lion's no, because Colin resists. So then what happened was, Willem got up, or tried to get up, and he couldn't get up. He was very bad in the mall. Colin then went to help Willem because he could see that he was in a much poorer condition than me himself. With this terrible wound on his face, was in his skin falling over his face. So he went to help Willem. And Willem said to him, "Colin, are you all right?" He said, "Yes, except he really shot my handball." So he said to him, "Just consider yourself bloody lucky, and because it could between your head." So anyway, what happened then was Willem, a very fragile diet all the time of this. He used to be at RSN where he'd be here later, and he was a socially hardened soul of that. He said to Colin, "Listen, I'm going to have to get us to them. They're going to what I'm going to ask you to do, Peter, I'm going to pick you up and carry you across the road and get us to mine up our house. And I want you just to stay in my arms while I take you across there. You can see where you're going, I can't." So they went across, so they got up and went on one of the house. He knocked on the door, and his wife said, "Yes, come in." And she said, Hazel, are you there?" He said, "Yes, come in. So he opened the door and walked in, and they said, he was carrying her son in his arms with a bullet through his wrist, and his memes all so. And he himself, with all she could see of her husband was that the skin on his head falling down and over his ears and over the eyes that never been that way. Must have been out of a jar. But she, of course, had just been fixing Ben's wife on. There was a bit more by the line, seriously more by the line. So anyway, she sorted him out, and Willem says to the son, "By God, we're going to have to go back to main family. There's nobody else to try. When it takes a government Land Rover and go to shooting, you can't get hold of Boy Lease, the provincial order. And then what has happened, to chilling the urgent need of medical thing." She took there was son's other friend who was uninjured, with her as a companion that she went with her mom. And they passed through herds and herds of buffalo and elephants and all sorts of things. And he can't say you're driving too far, and you're driving far too fast, there's going to be an accident. So she beat would then be used to lean forward and switch the engine. And this just about did her nuts. Just try to get there as fast as she can. And this youngster there, straight out of varsity, he's now trying to help with seeing us switch the engine on her. They got back to main camp 50 miles away. And they got hold of there was a squadron of unawed 3 helicopters with the Air Force, which was stationed in Rankin Sound, which is about 80 miles down the road towards Victoria Falls. So one of the other men there in the station managed to get in touch with them and said that they were sharply told them what had happened. You got hold of Dolce. But the pilot was a friend of Willem de Deal, and Willem being in the army and he in the Air Force, they got to know each other very well. And they then took 2 black nurses from pre-clinic that main chant and had was naming drone the 2 girls and Andrew Stein and back to Sharpie, in the Lorraine and the rest of it. And they had all sorts of injections and antibiotics and painkillers and all sorts of things. And the big thing was that Teddy, okay, this other man, I knew him very well seeing in the Air Force. He immediately got in a out of its 3 helicopter, triple, and then came to Sharpers and found out where Sharpie was in 1 feet, and he came in the middle of the night. Well, one of the things that most people don't know about helicopters is they can't fly on a dark night. They've got to have a natural horizon. And so how he comes in with his chopper. 2 young rangers from main Cascalaron in the Land River, and they got the lax in anything, Jerry, and they helped the other one up and get him some grind to it. And then the chopper lands, and with the way they got it, so that's the pilot, to the others at Sharpie in the middle of the night. And they put everybody on the aircraft. They had gone, Hazel had gone over, before she went to main camp, she had gone over to Lynn's house to see where Lynn was. And Willem says he's dead. There's out about it, he's dead. So he's hunting him just east way. And she went over there with the other youngster that she went to main camp, went over there, and they covered the body over with sheeting and what have you. But he was well eaten. And then she wanted to get on the aircraft with his chopper and to fly back to Wankley, because it was hospital at Wankley for Henry. So they got everybody ready to fix with him up there, and with my sons, and they went there in the middle of the night and dropped them all and put them into hospital. And she did all the things that could possibly put him from. They were in bed in Birkenhead, which is for her. And then we got communications back between main camp and what have been, and with Langenets. And then we used things that were right. But if the name was his, and he suddenly had a Randolph's bad hands. And Willem told me afterwards, when we were working together, close together, in some instances, all the minute details of how that had happened. And Hazel was really pissed off because she wanted to go in the helicopter with them and study if they were upstairs. And Master would stay together. That was another one experience.